I'm Ricky Lambert and you're watching Redmen TV.
Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Chris Pajak and this is the Twitter reaction show. So after the match, of course, as always, put out a tweet saying what were your thoughts on that. So I'm going to go through a few of them now. Now, you might be wondering first and foremost why we're back in the studio. Well, dickhead here forgot to charge the camera, so we could only have time for 2 videos, hence why we're back in the lovely warmth of the studio. So I'm going to start with @I_am_softlad or Steve G. Just 2 words needed, really: experimental and frustrating. Sorry, make that 3, overburdened. Hashtag LFC, hashtag FA Cup. It's true, isn't it? I mean, I can totally get behind the first 2, experimental and frustrating. I mean, you know, Steele said it in his post-match fan cam. If you want to watch that as well, do check that out. But what he said was, when you play a team that's normally half kids and half like experienced professionals, you do tend to have this sort of adjustment period. And I think Liverpool did struggle with that at times today. Frustrating, definitely, because anytime you go to Anfield and you see a 0-0 draw, it is frustrating, isn't it? And you know what? The third word as well, overburdened. Absolutely spot on, Steve, because this side at the moment, it's not the side, sorry, it's the squad is tired. You know, we're going in one game and then another and then another, and there's just no rest. And, you know, I can understand why we've played the team we did. I actually thought they did really well against the side that, you know, West Ham have been doing really well in the league. We did really well against Dimitri Payet. So, look, I think they had a bit of an off day, and I think that's down in part to the midfield 3. @Michael_LFC or Michael_T. Pretty solid game. Maybe deserved the win, but their keeper kept them in it. Brannigan looked promising with set pieces. Yeah, he's got a really good delivery on him, and Teixeira have both got great deliveries. Probably, excuse me, better than most people in our first team, in fairness. And, excuse me, I'm not sure. Well, their keeper definitely kept them in it, and I thought at the time, to be honest, and I think I said it in the fan cam, that I thought it was Teixeira's shot. The orange boots tricked me. I was the complete other end of the pitch. Apparently it was Brannigan who had that shot, and, you know, Mignolet kept us in it from our side as well. You know, there was one time when the ball was bouncing around the 6-yard box, he comes up with a great save. So I think a draw is a fair result myself. Obviously, I'm going to shade it towards Liverpool. @CraigCar82, 32 million worth of shit. Like Ballo last season, I've lost my patience with a certain lanky, lazy striker. I think a lot of Liverpool fans have lost the patience with him, Craig, and, you know, it seems to me like he just doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing when he's played up top. He seems to be making the wrong runs at the wrong time. Almost, I would say, I would like to see a striker head towards the front post now and again when crosses do get whipped in. He seems to just stand on the penalty spot and expect the ball to be delivered there. Not great. @Ned310, needed earlier subs, lacking any movement or pace up front, missed opportunity. I think you're right there. I think missed opportunity is the right way of putting it, because as I said earlier on in the show, I think West Ham have had a bit of an off day today, and, you know, that could have been a real scalp for some of the kids in this side. So it's a little bit disappointing, and I do agree as well that we needed early substitutions. I think one of the things that we struggled with was we had too many defenders on the bench. I think we had Laurie, Enrique and Randall on the bench, and so that third substitute was kind of nailed on to be a defender, and I don't agree with the Enrique substitution at all. But I was definitely I was sat next to Steve actually at the match, and he was calling for Ojo about 10 minutes earlier than he came on. I think had we maybe got him into the game a little bit more, the result could have been a little bit different, so I do agree with you there. Lewis Tizard @TizTaz99 would have preferred a loss than draw and have an extra game. Youngsters and Brannigan were great. Benteke useless as always. I suppose that's quite an interesting view. I mean, I was of the opinion a couple of weeks ago, and anybody who's watched the build-up show will know that I was of the opinion that we could have probably sacrificed the FA Cup, but then I started thinking about the treble in 2001 and, you know, getting to the Carling Cup final, and I changed my mind, and I started to think, you know what, if we're going to play a mix of kids and fringe first-team players, why not? I mean, if for nothing else, right, if we get knocked out in the replay, at least the kids will have another game, because our injuries are all coming back now. They're all sort of, we can see the end of the line for a lot of them. Obviously, there's people like Ings and Gomez who are going to be out for a long time, and add Sturridge to that list as well. But, you know, it could be where we get to a position where we've got a full-strength first-team squad, or near enough, and the kids aren't getting any game time. So if he's going to stick with the kids in the next game, maybe a replay is not actually that bad a thing. Flanology. Stewart looks so tidy tonight, deserves a chance in the Premier League, getting very impatient with Benteke. Spoken about Benteke already. A fella that I do want to talk about is Kevin Stewart, though. I thought he was brilliant. For me, he was my man of the match. I thought he just looked so composed on the ball. You know, really did well in that defensive midfielder. Not afraid of putting his foot in. Some tidy little touches, got forward well as well. Couple of opportunities in their box. So, for me, I agree with you. I think Stewart does deserve a little chance in the Premier League. And if we do take any more injuries, I definitely wouldn't feel uncomfortable with him in there, and that's a big compliment to the man. At Sam_Mansfield, Enrique for Player of the Month. Yeah, no. At James Coughlin 10, really admirable performance by the lads. Brannigan impressed most, and Teixeira knocking on the door of the first team. Interesting. And finally, at Jacko Franham, youngsters showed fight and character. Stewart, Corker and Teixeira exciting. Ivan Benteke need to improve. Now, we've spoken about a lot of them. Someone I do want to talk about, though, is Stephen Corker, because for me, you know, that defence looked really well, and we dealt with them really well. And Corker and Lovren, Smith and Klein, is that our tallest back four of the season? It could possibly be. Moreno's not in there, therefore that Smith's got to be taller than Moreno, and I don't think we've got a bigger centre-back partnership than Corker and Lovren, so that's quite interesting. We dealt really well with their threat. I don't know whether it was an injury or tactical. I've not seen any highlights come back straight from the match. And, you know, when they brought on that old blue shite, Jelavic, didn't give us any problems whatsoever. So I was really sort of quietly impressed with the pairing of Lovren and Corker. Look, I don't think they came up against two banging form strikers or nothing, but you can only play against what's put in front of you. And I think, to be honest with you, I think that back four dealt pretty well with the side. And, you know, I was really impressed with Klein's performance, because keeping Dimitri Payet quiet is not an easy task, as a lot of teams will attest to. And even so much so that he actually moved over to work on young Brad Smith towards the end of the game. And maybe that was one of the reasons that Enrique was brought on, a little bit of experience. I mean, I don't agree with the decision at all, but Brad Smith a couple of times did get a couple of decent tackles in on Payet, put a ball out for a throw-in and stuff. So there you go. That's the Twitter reaction show anyway. Drop us a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, subscribe and join our 111,000 people strong community on YouTube. Anyway, I'm Chris Pajak. Thank you very much for watching, and good night. Hello, I'm Chris Pajak for the Redmen TV. Outside Anfield, Liverpool have just drawn 0-0 with West Ham. Kids did all right, didn't they, in fairness to them?